Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to 15 with Falska, the podcast. I am here today with my guest, Caterina Maranghi. Good morning,
Good
Caterina.
morning.
Well, Caterina, you and I have known each other for a while. We're part of the same women's group, the wonderful group WIN. But recently at a Democrats Abroad fundraising event, we were sitting next to each other and we had both gotten there early to sort of help out setting up and stuff. And we got to talking and I said, listen, you are hilarious. You have to come and talk to me.
This is the response I get often.
Yeah. I said, you're hilarious. You've got a great story. And so please come and talk to me on the podcast. And you very graciously
Thank you.
accepted.
Thank you for inviting me. This is fun.
It is fun. So I want to dive right in and I want to talk about you. You were born in Florence, as your name is sort of a giveaway, but you grew up in California. And obviously you moved back here because here we are listening to your story. But can you tell me more about your life?
Yes, I was born in Florence. My mother was initially traveling after her intern in residency. She was a psychiatrist in the Bay Area and took a year off to travel, and she met my father at the Bella Riva Piscina at the swimming pool. He did a swan dive for her. And then, whatever, that ended up in my mom moving to Italy and having 3 children. And then we moved to America when I was 5 or so, just before kindergarten. So then I did all of my school in California and felt very, I feel very American. But at the same time, as a child, I felt kind of like I kind of loved looking at the Mexican families in the park because I felt like an immigrant, but I was like this white girl that spoke English. And so it's weird. Nostalgia is a brutta bestia. It's a hard context.
It is. And then, so first of all, it's a very romantic story, your parents' story. And it's kind of like good publicity, I guess, for a gap year, or maybe not.
Or maybe not. My father's friends all married foreigners because apparently the Italians weren't giving it up in the 60s.
And so we reinforce that stereotype of American women being easy. So you moved to the States when you're 5. It's a shock. And you still remember that, which is amazing because we don't remember that much.
Oh, those are my first memories. Yeah. I only have a couple flashbacks from Italy, like just a very few, riding on my father's shoulders, my grandmother sneaking me candies, that kind of stuff. And my brother's like tormenting me when my parents were out of the house.
Right. But then you moved back to Italy. When did that happen? Like you did all your schooling in the U.S.?
Yes. And then I was studying, but even from an early age, even behind my mom's back, I went to Europe with my friends every summer from age 14 almost straight through to 24 when I decided to move. But meanwhile, I was studying and working, and I ended up living on my own, and then I was free to choose.
Okay.
But when I came to Florence, I would stay at my grandparents', and then my aunt married later in life, and so her room was available for me, so I moved in.
So at 24, you come back to Florence. Mm-hmm. And is that when you start, because we haven't mentioned it yet, but this is a perfect segue, but you're a chef. And so I'm really curious to know more about how that happened, when that happened, sort of your whole career path.
Okay, well, it started in the kitchen when I was 5, probably, because I loved making dessert. I love eating sugar. And so my mother made all of us 3 kids cook, and we all had turns. But I did the most because I always wanted to make dessert. So I did extra cooking, and I really enjoyed it. And I think because my grandmother was such an incredible cook, and it felt like we were at a 5-star hotel, and we were actually in this sottosuolo, this kind of bunker apartment in Florence, but she would invite 10 of our friends, and, so I think I admired her hospitality. And also, like, my mother would have me make all kinds of things like hand-dipped chocolate for friends at Christmas and learn to plan the Thanksgiving, to time all the menus. And she would wake me up and take me shopping. Even when I was in high school, I was the designator, so I knew how to shop, price per pound. And then when I started working in catering, and then I got accepted to Cal and decided to be an au pair for my room and board. And this family, strangely enough, needed me to make dinner and do the shopping. And so it was right up my alley.
Right. And you've done, I mean, it's not one of the questions, but I know this, but you've done a ton of stuff. Like you were a private chef for a long time.
Yes.
We'll talk more about what you do now. But I remember you're telling me really funny stories about that too. So this was something that was within you. I mean, it was something that your family gave you. You talk about your grandmother.
I think that's what I was looking for, because then my parents broke up and it wasn't a broken home because we were all supposed to be home at 5 and having dinner. But it was kind of broken because my father lived in the city and he remarried. And anyway, life just revolved around food in my mind.
Yeah, and it still does.
Yes, absolutely. I'm obsessed.
So tell me a little more about what you do now. Like, what do you do today?
Okay, so now I'm fortunate enough to be able to work part-time. And so I'm currently working with a farmhouse here in the hills of Florence, pretty near my house. It's only like a 25-minute commute, a beautiful commute. And he needs me for cooking classes for these high-end customers. And they have like 2, 3, or 4 lessons in a week, and sometimes with the market. And I let them choose the menu, or I suggest, and it's all, making by hand. And then my boss said, okay, and I need you to sit and eat with them. And I'm like, okay, this is a great job. I can do this. And so I really enjoy it. And then I kind of understand that hospitality is like a step above being a chef.
Yeah.
Learning how to do that. And it's just based on generosity. And I think I've always been like that. I was always the one that was making cookies, inviting people over for food. Constantly. That's the constant in my life. And the older I get, the more specialized I am in.
And I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to do because you make a lot of people happy.
Well, yeah. You feed people and it makes you instantly welcome, and people are pretty happy.
Yeah, they are. I want to talk a little bit, since you do work with, I imagine, a lot of American clients, a lot of foreign clients in general. Something that kind of really bugs me today, one of the many things that bothers me about today's world, is this really damaging, I think, representation of Italian cuisine, and I'm putting this in quote marks, on social media. And so people seem to think that it all boils down to like 3 things, right? I called it a while ago on the podcast, the spritzification of Italy. But, people just know like cacio e pepe, cannoli, and spritz, Aperol spritz.
Right.
So first of all, how do you feel about that, knowing that, Italy is so complex and so diverse in terms of its regional cuisine?
Exactly. I try to break down it into regional cuisine.
Okay.
I mean, I like cannoli just like your other person, but I would like to eat it in Palermo.
Exactly.
And the same, spritz can go anytime if you like it. There's a lot of other options, too, for drinking. Mm-hmm.
So how do you break it down for your clients? Like, do they have this idea, this preconceived notion of what they're going to be doing, and then you...
Yes, I definitely try to install them a love for the simplicity of the Tuscan cuisine, which differentiates itself because we take a lot out. Like, we don't abuse garlic. We will put garlic in the pan with this shirt on, with the peel, and then eliminate it, and so you're not ever chewing on it, and it's very subtle. And I had a client recently that we were thinking, what are we going to dress our pasta with? And then somebody said, oh, we have truffles in the freezer, and I was like, okay, then it's only going to be butter and truffles. And they were like kind of stupefied because you just can't mix everything together.
No, and I think that's probably the thing that most surprises people when they don't know Tuscan cuisine. Let's just stay in Tuscany. And then it is a very poor cuisine still today. And so there aren't those embellishments. And a lot of it is just, very, very basic with very few ingredients.
But the good part is, like my uncle would say, he's one of 8 children, and his mother would pick fresh herbs and vegetables before lunch and before dinner. Wow. To spice up whatever it was. Not spice, but, to flavor it. And that's where we get all our flavor. If you just give me a few herbs, you're changing your menu. And another virtue here is that the art of recycling.
Yeah.
We have like hundreds of recipes for old bread.
I know.
And we put it everywhere, and you just don't throw out. And cooked meat gets turned into something else.
Exactly.
And so I like to pass that along.
Yeah, because there's this sustainability here before sustainability became a thing.
Right, sure.
Right?
It was the reality of.
Yeah, because people were poor.
Yeah.
I mean, Tuscany doesn't even have a tradition of pasta, you know, and this is
That's
something
right.
a
And
lot.
it's only pastasciutta,
That's
which people
right.
are like, what? And I'm like, yeah, really? We
This
like
is not
penne and spaghetti.
Yeah, this is not Emilia-Romagna,
Yeah.
you know, this is not a region that has those very rich, let's say,
Right,
traditions.
exactly.
So I'm curious to know, like, when you cook for these clients, what is the thing that they love the most that you propose?
Okay, no,
love
I
talking
took
about
a
food.
note about this because I had one older gentleman from the East Coast that broke down crying at a certain point because we had made ravioli and we'd put them on all these linens, and he just got overwhelmed because he remembered his grandmother putting all the ravioli on the bunk beds in their little tiny house.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I've had 3 generations of clients, grandma, mom, and grandsons who were kind of old and cooking and drinking. They were hilarious. And we got everybody to clean the guts out of the anchovies. And so people just have a great time.
It sounds amazing, but see, I love stories like this. And I think this also goes back to your point of hospitality. It's not just that generosity, but it's this sharing
Yes.
over food, you know, and over cooking, for example.
And sitting down, eat the meal together makes, different experience for sure.
It's a different experience. And it's important, I think, that you are also, you know, doing all you can to give people the reality of Tuscan regional cuisine or Italian cuisine, if you will, because you just talked about ravioli. So, you know, I have to say that. And so I'm happy that you elevate the Tuscan tradition. And I'm curious about how you, how you do that through your classes.
Well, just by explaining, like I will shop by a farm near my house and bring up like a case of whatever's in season. And so when it's fava bean season, I'll have them undo the whole thing and we'll just eat it raw Tuscan style with cheese and dip it in salt. And everyone is very curious about the traditions. Or I'll teach them how to break down artichokes. Or we will clean vegetables grandma style, which means sitting around.
Which is
fun. Yeah.
you
Any
chat.
job I can do at grandma style is appreciated, especially with the older clients.
I know. But I think that's also something that people are still so surprised by, that the seasons still do rule how we eat
Absolutely.
here.
That's all I shop for.
You don't, for example, even just this morning, my daughter skipped school today and took a mental health day. And I said, you know, we have, like, I bought a ton of mandarini, you know, I bought a bunch of clementines.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, there's a lot of clementines. So I was like, do you want me to make you some fresh squeezed clementine juice?
Oh, yeah.
Which is something her Italian grandma makes for her. And she was like, ooh, that sounds good. And I was like, you know, the season's starting. And I was all excited about it. I was like, and
eye roll.
Yeah. And no, she was pretty on board. But I think it's something that people are often surprised by. Like, the reality of cooking here and the reality of eating here is that, like, now it's, you know, we're moving into
tomatoes.
Right.
No,
we're moving into winter.
Niente.
We're moving into winter, which means like broccoli, cabbage, you know, all that good stuff. And the fruit is going to be mostly citrus, you know, and then, well, apples and stuff like that. But
and pomegranates currently. We made a
pomegranates.
salad, fennel, and pomegranates yesterday. It was amazing.
I kind of feel like you need to give us a recipe or two. Maybe we could put a recipe or two in the show notes.
That'd be great.
Yeah?
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, because this episode is going to come out around the holidays.
Good.
So, right, you know, beginning of the new year. So maybe we could put in a nice little
Yes,
recipe
I've had
for our
clients that
listeners.
wanted to
Okay.
like learn to do huge proportions, and I'm like, yeah, that's my thing. You know, I can do weddings, and
that's
so we
right.
did huge roasts and mega. You know,
All right. Let's put in a recipe.
Yeah.
So staying on that topic, what is your favorite thing to cook for your clients?
I personally like to eat vegetables, so I'm always trying to make a lot of vegetables. And my clients like to make pasta or gnocchi. A lot of them want to learn how to make risotto.
Yeah.
Sometimes if we're doing multiple classes, one day we'll do pisci, which is a handmade thick spaghettone kind of pasta that we eat here. But I definitely like vegetables, and like I said before, dessert, anything dessert. So we're making biscotti or tiramisu, and I have my summer varieties, strawberry tiramisu, and then I even started doing peach tiramisu, where we cook the peaches and then layer it
Oh.
up. So it's almost more a different dessert because I
Ooh.
drop the coffee.
Yeah, that sounds good. Maybe
It's really
even though
good.
peaches aren't in season right now, maybe we could put in the recipe for that peach tiramisu, or you could just give it to me
Yeah.
because I love peaches.
You have to wait for peach season
It's
again.
fine. It's fine. But our friends in the States can make it all year
That's
round.
true. That's true.
God, now I'm getting hungry. So I want to talk. I want to stay on this thing about food because you are bicultural, and it's a great thing. It's a gift. And so I'm curious.
Also heartbreaking.
It's a hard. It is. But so I'm curious about what your favorite things to eat are here and in the States. Like I know you're going to the States soon. And
Yes.
I know you're like me. You already have in mind exactly what you're gonna
When I
what
go
you're
with
gonna
my
for.
daughter, we do a junk food run. It's embarrassing.
It's
cinnamon
relatable.
rolls, bagels,
Cinnamon rolls and
brunch.
bagels are not junk food.
Well,
No.
donuts. Okay, donuts.
Depends. Depends where you get
Donuts are
them.
fried.
Yeah, but I feel like cinnamon rolls and bagels are actually like fairly healthy.
And I make them. I baked in Florence for 10 years too. And so
That's right, because you also worked at like one of the first American bakeries.
yes, one of the first ones that sold to a lot of places around town and specifically next to the schools was Carly's.
Yeah.
And then it got transformed and moved into San Nicolo, which is a neighborhood across the Arno, Mr. Jimmy's. And so I made bagels and cinnamon rolls and cakes and all the things. And even did turkeys. I mean, I even made turkeys and Halloween cookies before they were a thing.
Because now
A long time ago.
Yeah.
90s.
And this leads me to my next question. So you came back when you were in your 20s.
Yes.
You've been living here for quite some time. This place has always been part of your culture, your family, all that jazz. When you look around at Florence today, what do you have to say about especially the food culture and what you think is being done or not to preserve the true tradition?
Yeah, the Florence has beautiful markets, and they did this huge job on the Mercato Centrale, for example, where you still have some of the places that sell on the ground floor and very good specialized typical food upstairs, which is nice. And then there's other markets that are very authentic and where you can buy and shop and eat, and all the old school places to eat. And then meanwhile, you're filled with all these places that sell everything, including sandwiches or other regional foods that are popular, the spritz and carbonara and cannoli or whatever.
Right.
But generally, you eat really well here. But I think I'm hoping the old school will outlast the fads, because that's what is authentic.
Yeah, I don't, it's so weird to me because, when I first moved here, there was like, and I'm not opposed to certain things. Being here, Florence has become a very cosmopolitan city.
Yes,
it's changed.
that's something I love about it.
Me
yeah.
too. It used to be like just a very small town that happened to draw a lot of international visitors. Now it's become like very fancy and very cosmopolitan.
Yes.
And that's brought with it like things that I really love. And so I'm not complaining because in the old days, and you know this because you were here.
You could not shop on Sundays, for
You couldn't
example.
shop on Sundays. But also you couldn't, delivery, the only thing you get delivered was pizza, and there was only that really bad place. Remember?
Runner Pizza?
It was, I don't want to,
Oh, sorry.
because if they want to sponsor us, that's fine.
Yeah.
And like Chinese food you could get, and it wasn't
Really?
very good. Yeah, like there were maybe like a couple of places.
Yeah. We often went to Chinese food, but never got anything delivered. I can never get delivery.
No, but now, and then also, I bet you remember this place because they used to call it L'Egiziano. On Via Palazzolo,
totally.
Where you could get
The
falafel.
best,
And
the
that
best.
was so good.
The pita that they made was amazing.
But that's all.
It's gone.
I'm on. That's all there was. And now, now it's like a lot of it is also, I mean, there's some very high end stuff, but there's also a lot of reasonable stuff, I would say. But what I worry about more, like, I think that's okay. Like, I think that's.
You need to, make everyone happy.
Exactly. And also, like, the population is very international, whether that be the students or the long term residents.
And we also have our Italian students that have to go to high school in Florence, too.
Right. And they deserve, I mean, I'll admit this. My daughter goes to a lot of these places and, whatever. She was not raised going to McDonald's, but once she had autonomy, she decided to do what, because that's the other thing, too. For a long, long time, Italy resisted fast food.
Mm-hmm. No, now it's like a prized tradition. They go to the disco and they all go to McDonald's afterwards.
Right.
And
there's KFC now.
Oh, no.
In the center.
I refuse.
Right by the station.
Oh, dear.
KFC.
I know.
But there's also, my daughter tells me I'm sorry, we're going like on a food journey here, but it's good for our listeners. But my daughter tells me there's this great Korean chicken place.
Oh, yes.
Have you been there?
No, and I keep meaning to go to all the new ravioli spots that are opening up.
The dim sum and gyoza.
Yes. Yeah. The real Chinese, Italian people making really nice food.
Yeah, because I also think that people don't realize, because there's this image of, again, like going back to sort of what we see on social media and stuff, but there's also this image of Italy, and this might be also because of Italian American culture, as not having any like immigrant groups. And it's different now. It's totally different now.
When I first traveled as a teenager, I was comforted only in Paris because I saw some Black people.
Yeah.
And everywhere else, it was like, very racist and very different. And then I come from California and specifically Santa Cruz and Berkeley, and it was weird. Universe. And so I embrace all the different ethnic groups and also how they have to survive. Because on an immigrant, a paycheck for the easy labor does not afford you a good place to live, or, they get marginalized, and which is something that, whatever, I think the whole world needs to deal with that.
Yeah. No, but absolutely, 100%. And Florence has a very different identity. I think Italy in general, but Florence in particular.
Yes, this kind of starry, very fine.
Exactly. And now it has changed so much since I was first here as a student in the 80s, and then, actually it was 90.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about it yesterday too. I was like, man, I came, because I was going down a rabbit hole, as I often do. And,
me too.
Yeah. And I was basically I was like, wait, I came to study here in the fall of 1990. This is how, I'm getting so old. And I was like, the Berlin Wall fell.
While you were here?
No, a year before. Not even a year before. November 89.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that. And I was like, what we have gone so, I don't know, I just went down this whole thing of recent history and how the world has just changed so much, and how every day it just feels like 100 years of I don't even know what.
I think it's our age.
Thank you. No, but and I've been penning this post that hopefully I'll get out today or tomorrow, but it sounds depressing, and I don't want it to be. But sometimes when I do walk around Florence, I don't feel like I'm at home anymore. And you don't live in Florence, and this might be.
Yeah, no, I treat it. Well, I did stay in Florence, and I did work in Florence in my early years, and so now I go to Florence as much as I can. And if I don't go, I miss it. And I take all of my people who are from Campi Bisenzio, this town in between Florence and Prato. I take my people who grew up here that don't know the neighborhoods and don't know how to get around on foot. I am the tour guide, and I love it.
Yeah.
Italians and my foreign guests as well. So no, I am totally always enamored with Florence, even if it's busy, chaotic, touristy, I don't care.
Because I think it's because it is such a big part of your identity, your family, your grandmother, all totally. Of those things. I go into the downtown, and I kind of get a little
overwhelmed.
Sad. Yeah, a little sad. I think because some things I see as very good, and then other things I'm just like, no, non ci siamo proprio. I don't like, I'm publishing this piece on this today. I do not like the Starbucks in
Oh, no, me
Palazzo
neither. Oh, come
Portinari.
on.
I have problems with this.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's an eyesore, and it wasn't necessary, and we don't need that. And
Yes.
so,
Yeah, there's no drawing the line.
yeah.
And that would be nice to do some, well, like they did historically. Nothing out inside the
Right.
city walls can change their roof, for example.
Right.
Or you can't change the architecture, because that's why Florence has been the place to start your cultural tour
Yeah.
for centuries, because it hasn't changed.
But it has.
But now they keep sliding on, right and left where money is offering.
Yeah.
And people are approfittare. They are taking advantage
yeah.
of the rent they can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's old money sticking it to us.
And it's a lot. It's a lot of money. And I get that. I mean, I get that. But it's also, come on, the administration should be a little...
Protecting, just
Yeah.
like the old laws, just
Yeah.
like the Medici that left everything to the Florentines.
Yeah.
They should really, take that as an example.
Yeah, because that wasn't,
And
necessary.
stay strong.
Exactly. It was... So how, I mean, how can... So what can we, where, when you go into Florence, none of this at this point is scripted, so we're just going to,
Sorry.
it's okay. But, when you go into town, where do you like to go? Where do you still feel that you can get a taste of, what your life was like? Like, if you want to go out to eat, for example.
Oh, okay. Well, I like to roam around, and then I do have my favorite restaurants, but I like to roam around in San Frediano. 2 days ago, me and my girlfriends went in the afternoon, and there was 2 markets happening in Piazza del Carmine and another one, Santo Spirito. And then we went to my favorite bakery and got a snack. And
What's your favorite bakery?
Santo Forno.
Oh, okay.
And that was great. And then the sun was setting over the Arno as we walked back to our car. And I also love, because I worked there for years, in San Niccolò.
Yeah, me too.
So I love that. And I will go out of my way to go that way and up over the Piazzale, because I can't ever get enough.
Right. But you've just named 2 neighborhoods that have still managed to preserve their identity.
Absolutely.
Notwithstanding everything. See, this is my problem. And I say this on the podcast all the time, and I apologize to my
You're talking
listeners.
the city center.
Yeah, because if I'm on my side of the river, and you've just named 2 places in the Oltrarno, those places are never going to see a Starbucks. They're never going to see... No, but so why is it so... why in the shadow of the Duomo...
Do we need one? Yeah.
Do we need one? I get that there's
money. It's money, money, money.
Yeah, well, everything is governed by that now. But, there are ways to make money and still maintain, and still have your integrity and your cultural identity.
All right, Fosca, it's time to go to the city council.
Listen, I have thought about a career in politics, and I'm too smart to get into politics.
Okay.
And honestly, probably right now, I maybe would consider a career in the U.S. No, we're not going to go down that road today. I wanted to put a question on here, and then in the end I didn't put it on. But now that we're sitting here together, I want to talk about it. Because you mentioned that, you talked about your family and that you're going to the States, and your son is in the States.
Yes.
And your daughter is here.
My daughter is now in Rome doing her master's program.
Which is, so one kid is close and one kid is further away.
Yes.
And, this is something, I'm almost an empty nester.
Oh, yeah, it's a trip.
I'm having issues, as you can tell. But I'm just curious, how was it raising your kids between 2 cultures and countries? And what does it feel like now that they're, young adults?
Well, I'm just so pleased, and my kids are awesome. They really are. I worked really hard to have a career. I could have been a chef in a restaurant, but then I realized early on that in Italy, no. You need to be available 14 hours a day,
Even
6 days a week.
It's
Yes,
terrible.
exactly. No,
Holidays.
And then that leaves no room for relationships. So I decided to work in lunch cafes, which was super challenging. And so I could be there to drop off my kids and pick them up. And because I didn't have outside help, yes, my aunt lived in the hills and would come and was the perfect grandmother person, because we went up there every Sunday for 20 years. And then, so I think I really tried hard to give them good values. And the fact that they went to and from California and coming from such a small town in Italy, because most of the kids they know, live with blinders on. The most they go is to the same place every summer for, which is great too, because they make lifetime friends at the beach.
Yeah.
Because they go to the same place. And I like that too. So I tried to do everything for my kids.
Yeah.
So they got to go to America and hang out with the cousins and my friends' children. And it was awesome. And then Lorenzo up and moved to California when he was 22 because he had not done well in high school here and knew my story because I had the same problem in America. I dropped out of high school and then all my friends were going to college. Oh yeah, my friends were going to college and I was like, I can go to college. So I did. And then I put myself through Cal. I transferred in.
Good for you.
Yeah. And so I think they know how important that is to me. And then culturally, it's interesting because some stuff that you could never get away with in America is totally allowed here. And so it's a good balance that I made them wash dishes at an early age. And they were the only kids they knew that had to wash the dishes in Italy.
What do you mean by things like what other things would you say were different about the way you raised them here than it had you stayed in the States?
Oh, well, no. Living over here gave them a total family and social dimension that you can create if you have the right context, I think, in America. I know lots of good parents and lots of good families.
Sure.
But here the context is just so much family related. And since my family was a little broken, it was something I searched for because we're always trying to undo, what was done with us.
I know.
But I think I did pretty well because my kids are, doing well and we have a great relationship. And the distance is made way easier by social media these days. We FaceTime.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Which was unheard of.
We had to go to payphones and stuff.
Oh, I know.
We had to write aerograms.
Exactly.
So you think your son's going to stay in the States and your daughter's going to stay in Italy?
Who knows? Who knows?
It's nice that they have that. I think about that with my daughter all the time. I'm like, listen, I don't know. I think I've been a pretty good mother, but I have given her the gift of dual citizenship, which gives her
big time
opportunities. Yes. And that's what it's all about. I tell her all the time, I'm like, you can pretty much live wherever you want. I mean, not everywhere, but a lot of places. Yes, it gives you options. It gives you opportunities.
Yeah, Lorenzo defined himself as lucky because he has a new job and, a lot of his colleagues are undocumented or they fake social security numbers. I don't know if we're supposed to be saying
it's
this.
It's okay. You can say whatever you want. I'm not. It's fine. As long as you don't
that's
name
the
names.
Reality. And he defined himself as lucky. And I was like, well, your grandmother was American and, come on.
Yeah. You mentioned something and I want to go back to it because you kind of lit up the same way you lit up when you were talking about heading to the States and seeing, Lorenzo and seeing your family and friends for Thanksgiving. But when you were talking about your aunt right now.
Oh, yeah.
And those Sunday lunches in the countryside. So could you share with us what a typical meal was? Was she a great cook too?
Yes, she became a great cook because it was her mother that was the one that could just put on a showstopper. I think she studied Artusi in her sleep. I don't know. Because she worked at home doing tiny embroidery for the priests. And yes.
Fascinating.
Her work is in museums and she was in with the Vescovo and got me baptized in the baptistry.
Cool.
Yeah, when nobody's doing
it anymore. It's like at a certain point they stopped.
Yeah, and so, but then she became ill and then my aunt took over all the cooking and then she got married late and was a great cook. And she treated us, she never said no ever. I brought everybody that came through to my aunt's house. And they live on a vineyard. And there's olives and wine. And it's just beautiful. And she would hide little packages for my children. And play aqua, foco, foco.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I don't know how you say that in English. When you hide a package and if you're getting close, you say
warm.
fire.
I don't know what it's.
Hot water, cold water.
No,
I don't know.
Water. Yeah, it's no, it's not water. It's hot and cold. But you're hot, but I don't know what it's called anymore. I've been here too long.
Anyway, she was amazing. And whatever their hearts desired is what she got them.
And what did she cook for you guys?
It was she would set the table the day before and then cook a bunch of stuff and then already do a bunch of dishes when I get there because then I would take over the cleanup. But the table would just be set with, I don't know, marinated soft cheese, fennel salad, crostini, and then she would make, pasta dish. She was really good at wild sauces and meat sauces. And then Lorenzo was really into tiramisu, and my aunt couldn't get it quite right. And so my son would call it zuppa because it was runny, but she would make it for him anyway.
I love that though. And I think, when you're talking about the table and the care, and I think that's probably a big part of also where, this your love of hospitality comes
and
from.
it was her generosity.
Mm-hmm.
And later in my life, she said to me once, "Have I ever said no?" And then I was like, "Oh my God, she has never said no
What
to
a wonderful
anything."
gift. What a wonderful gift.
Yeah.
So I want to go back quickly to, because during the pandemic, just talking about generosity, you did something. You started doing cooking demos for your friends.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was really bad here. I know I say it a lot, but it was like really, really bad here.
Yeah, and we were all very good sheep. We all just fell in line, and the masks got delivered to our houses. Italy's totally organized. We all watched the news every night, and we were like good sheep.
It was amazing.
But we were all kind of stir crazy, and we could only talk into the phone to our friends. And then since I appreciate cooking shows from a very early age, I would like wake up and watch PBS and watch all the chefs, and I learned French food. And
did you used to watch Julia Child?
Julia Child and the Frugal Gourmet and Yan Can Cook for Chinese.
Yeah.
And I was all over that. And my mother had extensive cookbook collections, which I now have in my garage.
Mine are in my basement.
Yet to be unshelved.
I know.
And I forget what I was saying. Help.
No, talking about your cooking demos.
Oh,
so why you started them probably because we were all going stir crazy.
We were going stir crazy, and since all we could do was cook, and everyone got really interested, I said, "Okay, I'm gonna share my recipes," because it was almost like a legacy. We all thought we were dying, and so I just thought I would crack up with my friends, teaching them to make all the things.
Yeah,
and they really appreciated it, and I had the editor in the house and my director, which was mostly my daughter.
I was going to say, we had them then. It was nice,
actually. And so that's why, of course, then things got busy and we left the house and I stopped making videos. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. And it kind of morphed me into becoming the cooking teacher that I am now.
Because, I was thinking about that too, because at that point you weren't teaching.
No. I had been... Right during the lockdown, I was at a restaurant working a lot, doing all the desserts, lunch, and I even invented a brunch. It was at this tennis club in Sesto.
Nice.
And
fancy.
But then I had a health scare and I had to stop working. And so it just kind of morphed into something else. And I think it really did change my life.
Yeah. And you still do the videos. You post them on Instagram, not as much.
I really don't.
But once in a while, you should do the peach tiramisu.
Yes. No, I will do it for you.
Come on.
All right.
I mean, I think we all need a little peach tiramisu in our lives. So that leads me perfectly into my last question, which is what's next for you, Caterina?
Well, it'd be at the Democrats Abroad thing we were at. I'm involved through a common friend, and she asked me to put something up for bid, and so I asked artificial intelligence to make a flyer. And it was so awesome, and I was like, oh, this is exactly the style I work in. And it was, I will come to your house and make any meal you want, and I gave sample menus. Pick one. And
This is great.
Yeah. And so I think I'm going to run with that. Now, the woman who bid on this, I was able to add Rome into my destinations because my daughter has an apartment there because she's studying. And so I said Florence or Rome. And funny enough, this woman who's moving from New York now in November, we've exchanged messages, and I'm going to go do a meal there. And I thought, well, this would be good for me. So I think I'm going to be maybe even advertising and social media and that kind of thing. And various formulas, because I also can do a lot of things. Like last year my friends came and helped. We opened the huge table and made 30 pounds of torroni.
Yeah.
Not torroni. What am I trying to say?
Oh, what was it?
Panforte.
Oh, panforte.
And one chocolate one and one other one without the candied fruit, but with lots of dried fruit and spices, and one with chocolate. It was awesome. So we can do specialty stuff too. Like I'm a baker and we can do cookies, or I'm really good with children and often have children up there, and we can, customize very small groups, and including eating together, because you got to take it.
Of course,
love it or leave it.
Do you have a name for this business, this new venture?
Caterina's Cooking with Caterina.
Cooking with Caterina. No, because this is brilliant. Because
Thank you.
Well, because ordinary people also need their meals done for them. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that was one of my first jobs in Berkeley. I morphed my au pair job. They didn't want to lose the food content. So when I moved out, I would go once a week. I would do their shopping and leave 5 meals and little notes how to finish it off.
You do all the meal prep,
and then I had
chef?
3 families. Yeah. And then I also was a au pair here, but mostly a chef for a Florentina soccer star player dude, and also for a famous American director when he was filming here. And that was fun, and so it's familiar to me. So it'd be more of that, but more contact with the people.
I love that, and I also think it's something we need. I think a lot of people, it's appealing to a lot of people.
Yeah, I can even morph it into if people are staying in an Airbnb, I can come to them with the minimal equipment, the idea on the menu and the ingredients, and whip out a meal. It would be more experience-based.
Yeah, but you can do either. You can do either more, experience-based, okay, you want to learn how to do this, or you don't want the work, but you want the quality and, the guarantee that this is good and blah, blah, blah. But you're giving people options. I think it's a brilliant idea. And
Well, it's just mostly just because I like to hang out and cook. Yeah, my life is based around that now. I go to California, and they're like, what do you do there? And I was like, I usually just cook for my friends.
That sounds like a dream to me. Well, I wish you the best of luck with this new venture. I wish you a great time in the U.S. now. And
thank you. Can I mention something that I wanted to mention? It's just a technique, and it's just something that drives me crazy because I was corrected by a professional. So, the little stupid mini primer thing that you stick in your soup to blend it?
The immersion blender.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You know how everyone whacks it to get the stuff off on the side?
Yeah.
Like that? And you hear it, all the chefs on TV, everyone's whacking that poor thing.
Yeah.
Don't ever whack it.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, everyone does. And so this is something that I try to teach everybody I know. And why? Because we in a centralized kitchen I work for, we had a huge one called the bazooka.
Yeah.
And when it broke down, the guy who came and fixed it explained to me, the blade is suspended. If you whack it, you're going to buy a new one soon.
Do you just scoop out the stuff with a spatula?
Spoon, spatula, just make sure it's detached, because I
always detach. No.
I've done it. I
do.
I had an emergency with my finger.
I do.
I was really tired.
No, it's okay. My former partner is a chef, and so I saw
either detach,
all sorts
and
of
you
things.
can just rinse it.
Yeah,
but stop whacking it. And it'll last longer.
It's hard, though, because, with soup or something, it's easy because it's more liquidy. But when you
just
do
throw
it
away that much. I mean, you don't want to buy the machine again.
You're right. Well, thank you. Maybe you can also if you wanted to really, bring back your cooking demos, you could do Caterina's helpful
tips. Absolutely.
Tips.
I would love to. I just need a producer or a director or a editor. Yes, I do.
No, you don't. Get an intern. Get an intern. I can help you get an intern.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Come on, cooking is so sexy. There are hospitality schools all in Florence. There's a huge American university that has a hospitality school.
Okay, let's go, Fosca.
All right, I can help you. See, this is what I do. I connect people and I make things happen.
Because I really enjoy it, but I need somebody there for backup,
You could totally do this. We're gonna make this happen.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Fosca. It was a pleasure. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you too. I hope you come back. We got to cook. We're going to give you guys recipes.
Yes,
stay tuned.
Absolutely.
Grazie
Thanks
mille.
again.